Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine Rodriguez and I have a podcast called Astrology Now podcast where I invest so much more of my time and energy. So I have this YouTube channel. I don't post as often as I would like. I don't know how to edit videos, nor do I really have the time right now to learn, but I do like making the occasional video to hopefully have another platform to share information about Vedic astrology. And I will certainly say every single time that I get a new subscriber or a new comment or somebody likes my video, it always makes me very happy to know that maybe somewhere someone is getting something out of these videos. So today I'm going to be talking about aspects in Vedic sidereal astrology. Please keep in mind I study Vedic astrology, and so the methods are a little bit different. Of course, you may have heard of a square and a trine or a sextile, and these methods work, but they're more from a Western tropical system, and I'm really going to focus on Vedic sidereal astrology. And in Vedic astrology, every planet has its seventh aspect, which I'm going to explain a little bit more. And then it has special aspects. Some of the planets have special aspects, not all of them. And that's what we're going to learn today. Going back, I'm not going to have anything flashy on this video, so the best way to hold on to this information for later when you're reading charts at home is to grab a pen and grab some paper and write them down. So you may have seen the lighting change or the angle changed. I finished my entire video and I was so happy with how it turned out. I didn't want to redo the entire thing. But I forgot that I did not explain actually what an aspect is, which is so vitally important. So an aspect is actually a drishti, and drishti literally means gazing point or point of focus. And so when a planet aspects another house, it's technically tossing its energy to that house, its energy and its qualities. And of course, if that house has any planets in it, that planet is going to be influencing that house and the planets that it contains. And so every planet is going to have its seventh aspect, and then I'm going to discuss the special aspects as well. And then of course we have mutual aspects, which is where, let's say you have Venus in the seventh house and Jupiter is in the first house. These two planets are mutually aspecting one another. Jupiter is giving some qualities to Venus, Venus is giving some qualities to Jupiter. And so this is something to watch out for. In this video, I am going to discuss maybe how different planetary aspects can work on other planets, and I really want you to pay attention to the houses that don't have any planets in them that are still receiving aspect. Because if you have a house that is empty, but it's receiving an aspect from 4 planets or 3 planets, that's going to be very significant for that house and its qualities. So I'm just trying to demonstrate really how vitally important knowing what aspects are and knowing how aspects work when you are doing your own readings. So the charts that we're going to be looking at today are of spiritualists, Ram Dass and Alan Watts. Both of these are very inspirational people who changed the world with their literature. I love to pick these inspirational people to do videos on. And we're not going to be reading their charts holistically or fully. I may add some things here or there to show and demonstrate how the aspects are working, but this video really is based just to teach you the aspects and the special aspects of planets, okay? And so for those of you who don't know who these people are, Alan Watts and Ram Dass are both spiritualists, they're both authors. Alan Watts really made a massive impact on bringing Eastern philosophy to the West. He wrote the book Out of Your Mind, The Way of Zen, I believe is the name of the book. Yeah, The Way of Zen. He's just a phenomenal teacher, a phenomenal author. I highly recommend reading some of his books, really. You trust me. And then, of course, Ram Dass, who you've probably heard of. He's written Be Here Now, Grist for the Mill, and Polishing the Mirror, which really changed my life after I experienced a significant death. So if you are grieving or you lost someone or you're interested in learning more about the spiritual aspects of passing to the other side, this book is amazing, okay? And so these are the charts that we are going to be using today. We're going to be talking about aspects. So here is the chart of Ram Dass. And so earlier I mentioned that every planet in Vedic astrology has a 7 aspect. So every single planet is going to aspect 7 houses from itself. And so this is a North Indian chart, and the way that you read a North Indian chart is, of course, counterclockwise. But let's just take Jupiter, for example. It's going to aspect 7 houses from itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So his Jupiter is aspecting the 7th house. In return, his Saturn is aspecting the 1st house because it's 7 houses from Saturn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is going to work for every single planet. Now, the only ones that are tricky are Rahu and Ketu. To be honest with you, I don't really use Rahu Ketu's 7th aspect because it's kind of, how can Rahu aspect Ketu or Ketu aspect Rahu? I don't really consider that so much when I'm reading charts personally. If you do it differently, I would love to hear in the comments. And so like Mercury, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mercury is aspecting the 5th house. This is going to be with every single planet, and these aspects are going to bring different things. Okay, they could create different yogas. Now, there are planets that make special aspects, and so go ahead and grab your pen, grab your piece of paper. Jupiter is going to take that 7th aspect. It's going to also aspect 5 houses from itself and 9 houses from itself. Mars is going to, in addition to the 7th aspect 4 houses from itself and 8 houses from itself. Saturn is going to aspect 3 houses from itself and 10 houses from itself. And Rahu and Ketu, Vedic astrologers argue about this. Some say they do, some say they don't. I 100% believe Rahu and Ketu aspect 5 and 9 away from themselves, just like Jupiter does. So to go ahead and have it all clear, Rahu, Ketu, and Jupiter all aspect houses 5, 7, 9 from themselves. Mars aspects houses 4, 7, and 8 from itself. Saturn aspects houses 3, 7, and 10 from itself. Okay, and so let's go ahead and go through these just so you can get a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So we've got the 7th aspect. Mars is going to aspect 4 from itself. We count the house that the planet is in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Mars in Ram Dass's chart is aspecting the 5th house. I've seen people have children with Mars aspecting the 5th house, maybe even Mars in the 5th house, but this could be a reason why he chose not to have kids, right? This could be a reason. It will aspect 4, 5, 6, 7th from itself, and then of course 8th from itself. So it's aspecting Venus in the 9th house. It's going to give a lot of passion. It's going to give a lot of fire to these 9th house pursuits. I should also say that Venus in the 9th house can give this feeling of bhakti. And bhakti is when you practice religious ceremonies or have any type of spiritual practice, and it's really just for the love of it. Okay, it brings a lot of love and sincerity into your spiritual practices. Having that Mars aspect is going to give a lot of passion and a lot of ambition to these things. It may damage the relationships a little bit, but So these are Mars special aspects. Keep in mind, not every planet has them, just the ones I've mentioned. Now, looking at his Jupiter, it's going to aspect 5 and 9. So Jupiter is also aspecting the 5th house. It's going to give him this creativity, interest in spiritual literature. It's going to give him intelligence. The 5th house is also intelligence. And then, of course, it's also aspecting the 9th house because 7, 8, 9. Jupiter aspects 5, 7, and 9, right? So now he also has this Jupiter aspecting the 9th house. So much energy in his 9th house. It's receiving an aspect of Mars and from Jupiter. It's got Venus there. So much energy around Dharma, spirituality, higher education. He was a Harvard professor. I believe it was a Harvard professor. He was a college professor, highly esteemed. He went to India and had all of this good luck with finding teachers. This is also something else that you can find with the 9th house. I should also mention that Jupiter is Digbala. It's receiving full directional strength in the first house. I love seeing Jupiter in the first house. It does generally do very well. And then, of course, it's giving its natural aspects to 5 and 9, which are the natural Dharma houses, which are luck and fortune and spirituality. So I always love seeing that. Now assessing his Saturn special aspects. Saturn aspects 3 from itself. 1, 2, 3. Yet again, we have another Saturn aspect on the 9th. This can bring a lot of sincerity, a lot of humility, a lot of dedication. Of course, it's aspecting the 7th from itself, giving him this deep spirituality. When you see Saturn and Jupiter aspecting like that, it really can give deep spirituality. Also someone who can be kind of like the caretaker of the group in a lot of ways. So I'm sure that he did a lot of taking care of others, nurturing other people, making sure that everyone was in check. And then 10 from itself. 7, 8, 9, 10. It's aspecting Ketu in the 4th house. Keep in mind that the 4th house is also a moksha house. So having this Saturn aspect on the 4th, having Ketu aspect on the 4th, it's bringing this deep divinity, right, to these more spiritual aspects. Of course, it may have done something to the early home life. There may have been a disconnect from the mom or disconnect from the parents in some way. I will say this chart does look like a candidate to show maybe some difficulty with the mother. This is what I'm picking up on. And so Ketu is going to aspect 5 and 9 from itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ketu's aspect on the 8th house, giving this deep, insatiable desire to seek these occult sciences, to seek the hidden mysteries of life. It's going to make someone who's very intuitive naturally. And then, of course, the 7 is kind of weird, right? Because Ketu's aspect on Rahu, it's kind of like, I don't really use it. The 9th aspect, 7, 8, 9th on the 12th house. This is, again, the 12th house is another moksha house, okay? The 4th house is a moksha house, 8th house is a moksha house, 12th house is a moksha house. It's receiving aspect from Ketu. Every single moksha house is receiving an aspect from Ketu. Deep spirituality, deep divinity, deep, interest in these spiritual pursuits. It does give someone an intuition. It gives someone a really deep awareness to the subtle energies. So I'm sure he was extremely intuitive. He could really feel into the people around him. He may have even gotten some type of messages from dreams in some ways. The final one is Rahu. Of course, Rahu also has the aspects of 5 and 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rahu's aspect on Mars. This can be passionate. This can be very passionate. It's on his 2nd house of talking. It can also be his writing abilities in some way. So he's going to be a chatterbox. He's going to love to talk. He may even have a quicker way of speaking. I haven't heard him speak. This is a possibility. In his younger years, he may have been argumentative and combative in a way. This is definitely something that could happen. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so Rahu is aspecting his moon. When Rahu aspects the moon, this can certainly bring, for the moon in the 6th can create someone who's kind of a workaholic, and now we have Rahu. He's always going to be able to be doing and creating and pursuing new ideas. It can bring a little bit of neuroses at times. It can make somebody a little obsessive, a little OCD. This can happen, okay? So these are the special aspects of the planets, kind of how they work. Keeping in mind, aspects are similar to a conjunction. That's how powerful they are. I've gotten the excellent question recently on if aspects change, depending on if it's 4, 8, 5, 7, whatever. 100% aspect. This is the way that it works. Each of the special aspects is just as powerful as the 7th aspect, similar to a conjunction. And so here is Alan Watts. I'm going to speed through this because some of you may have already gotten it. You've already written it down. You're ready to go look at your personal chart. So I'm just going to briefly talk about where the planets are aspecting. So his Venus would be aspecting, of course, his 7th. Mercury will be aspecting his 8th, right? Every planet has the 7th house aspect, always. Mars will aspect the 5th house, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will aspect the 8th from its 7th aspect. and it will aspect the 9th from its 8th aspect. Jupiter and Rahu, because they're conjunct, this is excellent for education and teaching, and it is in the 4th house, which is a moksha house, which is opening them up for spirituality. We want to look at the 5-7-9 aspect for Jupiter, and then of course the 5-9 aspect for Rahu. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have Jupiter and Rahu aspecting Saturn in the 8th house. This is huge for 8th house matters, okay? And then Jupiter would be aspecting the moon. This is called Gajikasari Yoga in Vedic Astrology. This is a very powerful yoga for kind of being like the king of the jungle in a sense. They're going to overcome their enemies. They're going to overcome obstacles. They're going to be very highly respected. With the addition of Rahu with that Jupiter, this is a powerful, powerful individual, especially their inner sense of structure happening in the 4th house. 8, 9, also a Rahu-Jupiter aspect on the 12th house, which we know is a moksha house. It represents spirituality, liberation, can also represent losses and foreign travel. We want to keep that in mind as well. Saturn will aspect the 10th house by its 3rd aspect. 1, 2, 3. Will aspect the 2nd house from its 7th aspect. And it will aspect the 5th house from its 10th aspect. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then of course K2 is 5, 7, 9. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. K2 will aspect the 2nd house. The 7th house is a little weird because Rahu is there. 8, 9, K2 will aspect the 6th house. So just once again, you always count the house that the planet is in. So if Jupiter has the 5th aspect, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and one more final time. Jupiter aspects houses 5, 7, and 9. Rahu and K2 aspect 5, 7, and 9. Saturn aspects 3, 7, and 10. Mars is 4, 7, and 8. Okay, I hope that I got that all for you guys. So I hope that that was helpful. I hope that you learned more about aspects and special aspects in Vedic astrology. If you have any requests for videos or something you've been wanting to learn, please let me know. I am going to have a study group opening up where we meet once a week to discuss Vedic sidereal astrology. I plan on beginning that in about 2 months. So if you're interested, you can email me at astrologynowpodcast@gmail.com. Please go to my website, innerknowing.yoga. All of the social media stuff is going to be listed below, and hit subscribe if you're interested in learning more about Vedic astrology. Again, my name is Christine Rodriguez. Thank you so much.